Hi love bugs, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Samara Curtiss. So today I am going to take you guys to the float spa. If you don't know what a float spa is, make sure you keep watching this video to find out. So recently I've decided to take better care of myself, do things that make me happy, do things that heal, and I've been trying to get away from medicine. And medicine meaning like Advil, Tylenol, pain relievers, stuff like that, because after a while your body either becomes like immune to it or you become like kind of dependent upon it. And I feel like that's how I am with like ibuprofen whenever I have pains. So a couple months ago I read about a place or a thing called sensory deprivation or floating. It's basically like this tank filled with pounds and pounds and pounds of salt water, and you just float. But there's a lot of other benefits that come with it. It's a stress reliever. It helps with chronic pains. It helps if you can't sleep at night and you have insomnia. It's also good if you have fibromyalgia pains. And me personally, I have a pinched nerve in my neck, and I have like sciatic nerve pain in my lower back from being in a car accident and just from cheering and doing gymnastics and all of that for so many years. So this is my third time floating, and when I tell you, it is amazing. Like, I'm a water baby. I love being in the water. I feel my most whole self when I'm in water, and being able to float for 30 minutes to an hour and 30 minutes, like, this is the best thing that has ever been created. So I'm going to take you guys with me, and don't forget to subscribe, and let's go float. Okay, so this is the float tank area. At first, you're supposed to shower off. They have towels and like a float headband, earplugs, which are needed. And this is the float tank. It's a tank full of salt water that's at 93.5 degrees, same as your body temperature. And yeah, there's buttons so it actually gets super dark in here, like pitch black, and you just float. So a lot of people do float in the nude. They tell you to do so because when you're floating, you don't want to have any like bathing suits or bras like irritating you when you're floating, because basically you fall asleep. And my session is actually for 90 minutes. So we're gonna go ahead and get ready to float and relax. Okay, so we're about to float. They give you little ear buds because the water is so salty, it'll get everywhere. And there's actually a light that, so right now we're on like the regular setting, but it gets darker. It gets really dark. So let's float, and I'll see you guys later. Okay, so I've been floating for probably like 10 minutes, but I just wanted to give you guys some information. I float at a place called Paradise Float Spa in Annapolis, and it's amazing. Like, it's so much fun, but there's a lot of more benefits of floating, and when I'm done floating, I'll definitely let you guys know. So they have a really cute post float room that you can come in and kind of come back to your senses and unwind. They have tea and water, these cute little relaxing chairs, some books, and it's just a relaxing place. So I just got done floating. I had a 90-minute session. It was blissful, like pure euphoric feelings. One thing I do recommend doing if you decide to float, ooh, this lighting is horrible. I like to bring moisturizer with me because after you are salty, like salty. So I like to bring moisturizer because like you can tell by the way your skin looks, it just looks like you need to go bathe. So a few other benefits I forgot to mention about floating. It helps with PTSD. It helps with jet lag if you travel a lot. I mentioned the stress issue. It also helps with not becoming dependent on drug use, alcohol, smoking. It helps with just focusing. It also helps you if you just can't sleep at night. And honestly, I feel like everyone should try floating. You should find a sensory deprivation center / float spa in your area, because I promise you, it is such a great feeling. Another thing, the float tank looks super small and it gets pitch black. I showed you 2 of the lighting settings, but there's a third one when you're actually in there. It gets pitch black, where if you put your hand in front of you, you can't see it. And me personally, I am claustrophobic and I thought it would be an issue, but they told me once you get to that point of relaxation, like, you don't really realize your senses. That's why it's sensory deprivation. Like, all your senses kind of go out the window and you just go into your own little world of not really stressing or worrying about where you are. So if that was a concern when you saw the video of like me in the tank, I promise you, if anyone is claustrophobic, it's fine. You will have a great time still, and you will get to that point of relaxation where you don't have to worry about it. And I know some people are gonna be like, well, don't your hands get pruny? Like, what if you don't know how to float? Okay, there's so much salt in the water. There's like thousands of pounds of salt in the water that it helps with your skin. Like, my skin always feels amazing when I'm done floating, and you do not get pruny. And even if you don't know how to float, because of how much salt is in the water, think of it as like the Dead Sea. If you try to sink, you will not. It's impossible to sink. And there's only like 6 inches of water in there anyway that you're floating on. But I knew someone would be like, well, I don't know how to swim, or I don't know how to float. It's perfectly fine. Like, you will float regardless of your level of water experience. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.